Hey sightseers, Sightseeing Sidekicks here. I'm with
Andrew and Marty.
And today we're checking out one of my all-time favorite up north towns, known as
Crandon.
So let's go check out the sights. It's been a few years since I've been up here, but I can assure you there's lots to see.
We'll find out.
To kick things off, we're starting out at the Crandon International Raceway. Home of the World Championship off-road races, this track has brought worldwide fame to this small town here in Wisconsin. And it's one of those events that you need to attend at least once in your life to appreciate. Now, it's been a lot of years since I was out here for the races, but I can tell you that what I do remember is that there were a ton of people out here, and it happened on Labor Day weekend. I know that's when one of the biggest events occurs, is here on Labor Day weekend. Other than that, I can't really tell you much about it from personal experience. If you're interested, you can probably Google it. I'm sure there's a ton of information online. I just wanted to bring you over here though so you could get a peek to see what the dirt track looks like, and so you could see the place that has put small town Crandon, Wisconsin on the world stage. Since I've never shown up here outside of an actual event, I'm not really sure if we're allowed to, mosey around and check out the track. So I think we're just gonna move on into the downtown of Crandon so you can see all the really neat historical buildings that are here. But again, just wanted to point out the fact that these world races are held here. It is a huge deal for this community, as it does bring people from all over the world here and is one of the various things that makes Crandon such a cool place to visit. Change of plans, sightseers. Before we head downtown, I wanted to bring you over to Lake Minnetonka, which is another huge reason why people enjoy coming up to Crandon so much. If you didn't know, Crandon is situated on Lake Minnetonka, more or less on the northeastern side of it. Although, as you look around the lake, you'll notice it is pretty built up, which is not unusual given we're talking about a body of water. As you can see, the waters here are crystal clear, and people come out here to enjoy all sorts of different sports on the lake, from fishing to boating to swimming to snowmobiling. Yep, I've done that once or twice out here. And as you can imagine, I'm not the only one who has either. For you doubting Thomases out there, you can see the sign on the pole here pointing to Charlie's Lake Minnetonka Resort, and it is pointing in the direction of the lake because that is the route you take when you're on your snowmobile. For those of you wondering, you've got the name of the park and its rules right here. On the beach parking side, no vehicles with trailers, park closes at 10, no dogs allowed. Oh, good thing we left the bumpers at home. No fireworks allowed. Better make a note of that for Marty. And then please supervise your child. And then as far as the boat landing goes, there's parking for vehicles with trailers only and park in the marked areas. No making your own spots, okay? Nothing that irritates the locals more are the ones that come up here and just act like they can do whatever the heck they want. Just saying. And there you have it, the park in a nutshell. Alright, well let's head to the downtown. There's a lot to see and only so much time to do it in. We're now up on what's considered the main street here in Crandon. It's actually Lake Avenue, and that direction is the direction we came from, where the lake is. And then obviously if you go north, You'll end up down over there, and that turns into North Lake Avenue. You can see that they have a motel here called the Main Street Inn. Years ago, I stayed here in this building, the one with the old motel neon sign on the roof. It was a really nice stay, and it put us in the heart of all the action. As you can see from the sign, though, today they don't have any vacancies, which means they're all full up. Well, I just spotted something over here I want to check out, and I think you do too. It's the Happy Tales retail shop, thrift store for the Humane Society. Oh. I think years ago, this was a gas station. Yep, you got the hood here and where the gas pumps used to sit. I'm pretty sure I bought gas from here at one point. What do you think, Marty? Should we go check out the inside and see if we can find any deals?
Let's check her out.
I didn't find any deals today, but Marty might have. We'll just wait out here and see what he comes out with. What I really like is that everything, all the proceeds of everything they sell here goes to the Humane Society. While I wait for Marty to come out, I just want to point out the artwork that they have here that somebody had painted of the animals, cats, with a dog, and then over here you got some more cats and dogs. And then there's the Happy Tales retail shop sign itself, which is really neat. Well, Marty, what'd you get?
Light bulb tester.
Interestingly enough, they have a deer park here where for a quarter you can get yourself a handful of corn to feed the deer. So far, it doesn't look like we have any takers. Maybe Marty will have better luck. Oh, look at that. He is having better luck. What's interesting to know about the deer park is that this was started back in 1940. They had, in addition to deer, they had a bear cub and some other animals. As you can see, the deer have stayed, and this is a huge attraction here in Crandon, bringing tourists, city folk who aren't accustomed to seeing deer. Apparently there's only one deer here that really likes the corn. Or maybe it's just that they like Marty.
Hey, come on now.
Oh, we have another one coming up. Do you have any more quarters, Marty?
Yeah. I mean, they're such gentle animals. I don't know why people shoot them and look at them. And that's what's running around in the woods.
Oh, look. You're so gentle. It's kind of fun to see them up close. I mean, we're accustomed to seeing them because deer, if you didn't know, is plentiful.
Up close in front of our cars all the time.
All the time. And to see them here, and they're just so gentle. They're gentle creatures. Oh, don't get me started. Let's move on. Besides the deer, you've got the historic courthouse here, along with a really nice Veterans Memorial. You can see Marty over there is checking out the tank that's sitting here. The Veterans Memorial is in that building right up over there. Marty, you want to say anything about the tank?
I don't know, it's nothing about tanks.
According to the plaque that's here, it's an M60A3 tank that's complements of this 1st, I think that means Battalion, 632nd Armor Division of the Wisconsin National Guard. Oh, And it's noon. We got the noon siren going off. Well, let's walk over by that Veterans Memorial Building just so you can get a quick glimpse of that. Oh, this is really cool. They have this silver globe here. Oh, doesn't that make a beautiful picture? Out of all the Veterans Memorials that we've seen across the country, I'd say the Forest County Veterans Memorial is one of the best ones out there. They have some really nice displays inside this building that is, you know, you walk in, it's open to the elements, but yet protected from the elements. You can see the original marker that was erected here. It was outside before they put this building up. And then they have some really nice displays. Over here, they've got a listing of the Forest County veterans. There's also original artifacts behind glass and historical information about how the park came to be. If you get a chance, I highly recommend that you come out and check it out, especially if you're into, you know, military history and you want to maybe honor the veterans or just see the people that served out of Forest County, who they were. As it just so happens, today they have the farmers market going on here in downtown Crandon. They've got locally grown apples here from Pineapple Orchard.
We are apples are us.
Your apples are us, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, what kind? Macintosh.
Honeycrisp.
If there was a good eating apple just for snacking on, which one would you recommend?
I'd say
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Yes, there is.
Ooh,
They
that
were just
sounds
sold
good.
out.
Oh, no!
The second one would be Portland. The second one would be Portland for
Good
just
apple.
eating or baking.
Yeah, ooh.
And some people prefer Macintosh for baking. But
Ooh, that sounds good.
so
Yeah.
we also have some Honeycrisp left, just a few left.
Besides the apples, you've got individuals selling honey, baked goods, and of course, your vegetables. The vegetables that are being picked at the end of the season. Because if you didn't know, sightseers, we have been getting a bit of frost at night. The temperatures have been going down. It's definitely an indication of a change in the seasons. Moving on, you can see that Crandon has the old style water tower up there, along with the historic Crandon Masonic Lodge number 287. And then next door to that, you've got the Forest County Visitor Center, which doesn't appear to be open today. I just noticed that on the side of the Masonic Temple, you can see that at one time it used to say bank. I wonder if it's possible that a bank used to exist in this building. I'm sure somebody out there knows. If you do, you know what to do. Now, something that you probably don't know about Crandon is that back after Prohibition, this would have been right after Prohibition ended, Crandon was the first town or city to open up a distillery here in Wisconsin.
The W.B. Gamble Distillery, and they processed alcohol for the United States government.
W.B. Gamble operated from 1937 to, I believe, 1950. Why are you crouched down?
Because I'm too tall.
And the only reason why they stopped making spirits here in Crandon is because they lost the government contract, or maybe the government just decided that they were no longer going to buy alcohol and give it to
Soldiers or whatever they were doing.
or whatever they were doing. And because it was such a small town, operation, they just weren't able to compete nationally with the other distillers out there. But that's a fun fact about Crandon. Well, sightseers, What do you think of my favorite up north town so far? Is it a place that you would come out and visit if you had the chance? By the way, I do have a couple of quick shout outs I want to give at this point. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Jack Picardi for tipping our trip jar for treats for our favorite sightseeing pups, Mocha and Leo. Next, I'd also like to give a quick shout out of thanks to Sue, Mike, Belle, and Tater for tipping our trip jar for not only for us for gas, but also once again for treats for Mocha and Leo. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the extra tips to the trip jar for the pups and for us, because it does help us get out to these awesome places around America. Now I'm going to turn things over to Marty, because he has something he wants to point out.
And just off of Main Street here, looks like another mini Main Street. There's a couple buildings down the block. Oh, there's the Super Bowl and bar.
You can see they also have what's known as the Night Owl Club here in Crandon. As one thing about Crandon is that you won't find a shortage of places for you to imbibe in adult beverages. Which really is no surprise, given that this is where the first distillery opened up after Prohibition in Wisconsin. As I mentioned, you'll find a number of historic buildings here in the downtown. In front of me is the First National Bank building, which now houses the Northwoods Insurance Agency.
And going the other way on a side off of Main Street, you got another bank and American Legion post.
It's the old Citizens State Bank, and today you'll find the File and Style Salon and Spa inside. Moving along, we can see there's a mural here painted on the side of this building. It's the Crandon Pharmacy, and the mural shows, of course, a reference to the Crandon International Raceway, all the fishing, and outdoor sports.
You also got hunting on there, snowmobiling, and a reference probably to the logging industry with the axe and the saw.
Now here's a place I've never been in before. Trisha's Bistro, espresso bar and bakery. Ooh, this sounds like a good place for a stop for a quick snack or maybe something to drink. At the Snickers Mocha. Nice. When you're done getting a beverage or a snack at Trisha's Bistro, you can head next door to Trisha's Treasures. Since you went inside, Marty, you want to explain a little bit about what Trisha's Treasures is about?
Trisha doesn't have any treasures for men. It's a woman's store.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression too. There's a vast variety of treasures ranging from clothing to knickknacks to toys for children and some antiques down in the basement. But generally speaking, is geared towards women.
Definitely.
Across the street, however, you'll find a place called BC Cakes and More. Essentially, it's a specialty cake shop, and I have a sneaking suspicion that's probably more up Marty's alley. They got all kinds of goodies here that they make. Next up, flowers from the heart, because the best things come from the heart. Looks like they're ready for fall, although who can't resist a 50% off rack, especially when you're looking at these really cute florally prints. Now that's definite indication you're in the Wisconsin North Woods. You can even get yourself a raccoon skin hat if you're so inclined. I wonder if I could get Marty to wear one of those. Another shop with just about a little bit of everything. From souvenirs, gifts, to furniture, to artwork, to flowers, jewelry, and of course, clothing. I thought, since I haven't really done this yet, is to point out some of the historic features evident in this block. For instance, right here you can see up above the doorway, in the stone, it says U.S. Post Office. An indication that at one time the U.S. Post Office was right here in this building. Over at this building, which now serves as a realty company, you can see in the stone that it says Art Tracy, 1942. This building, which houses the Pioneer Express Publishing Company, is the old G.W. Eisen building, circa 1921. And speaking of historic buildings, over at the corner of North Lake Avenue and West Washington Street, you'll find the former Hotel Crandon, now known as the 1930 Jameson's Inn. This is a local supper club and local favorite to get your cocktails on. Now, it's been a lot of years since I last went into the Hotel Crandon, so take this next bit with a grain of salt because the old memory may not be as sharp as it used to be. However, if I recall correctly, the Hotel Crandon used to have a speakeasy. There were even tunnels underneath the streets leading out, and this may have been the local hangout during Prohibition, if you know what I mean. Well, then again, I'm getting to be an old lady. I might have some facts mixed up. If they were open, I'd certainly go inside and see if we could find out whether my recollection of their history is accurate. Unfortunately for us, though, it seems we've landed up on a day and time when they're closed. A few more places I want to point out here on North Lake Street before we move on. First, there's the Nicole Jean Salon and Spa that occupies the space in the building that butts up against the old Hotel Crandon, along with American Family Insurance. Over on the corner of East Grant and North Lake is the Packham Inn,
Where good friends meet. Another neat thing on the side of Packham Inn Bar here. It looks like an old Blatt sign, and I believe it said Milwaukee's best beer at one time. It's too bad that edition is on there. You can't see it anymore.
See what I mean about no shortage of adult beverage drinking establishments? And then there's Duck's Bar. Probably one of the more well-known dive bars of Northeast Wisconsin. And when I call Duck's a dive bar, I mean that as a compliment. Because for those of you who aren't familiar with Wisconsin drinking culture, there is this thing that we have where we call certain establishments dive bars. They're just these places where you can walk in and it's like stepping back in time maybe. Perhaps there's a layer of grease on the windowsills. I don't know. There's entire social media sites dedicated to picking out Wisconsin's best dive bars. All this to say is that I've been in Duck's multiple times over the years, and it's one of those places where you can come in as an outsider, have a grand old time, and leave and not remember what you did. Oh, the stories I could tell you about what's happened in Ducks. But as they say, what happens north of 64 stays north of 64. I know some people say it's north of 8, but For some of us, it's north of 64. Regardless, there have been some grand old times that have happened at Duck's Bar.
Here's something interesting on this building here. You can see that it says Lynn Paul or Lynn something grocery. Obviously that was a grocery store at one time. And over here, the old H&R Block building looks like it was probably a gas station at one point.
I honestly don't recall if that was a gas station or not. It's been a lot of years since I've been here. Have you ever been here, Marty?
Not really. On the outskirts of town, I had a lunch at one of the diners here, but that was it.
So you've never participated in any of the activities at Duck's Bar?
Nope, never heard of Duck's Bar.
Well, you kind of missed out. Well, yeah. Okay. Interestingly enough, the building that Marty suspects was an old grocery store is now home to Sinnerman and Sisters Tattooing and Body Piercing Shop. We've got another interesting looking place here on North Lake Street called Whiskey Darlin'. Ooh, whiskey, huh? Why don't we go inside and see what this is all about? Well, apparently, it's a coffee shop. So no whiskey. But considering I already had a coffee, I don't think I need another one. So we're gonna move on. Before we do so though, I just want to point out that we are at the point where if you go around this curve here, you're heading west on 8. And also right now they have North 32 detoured that way. And then if you go straight, you're gonna head out on North 55. It's at this juncture where you'll find Jameson's Whiskey Darlin', which is right over there. If you would actually follow 8 and continue on down the road, you'd end up finding Palubicki's Eats and Treats, a local drive-up ice cream and snack shop. Now, unfortunately, I've never had the good fortune of checking out any of their sweet treats, and they are closed today. But given the variety of sweet treat options, I really think this could be my new place, my new favorite place to get ice cream in summer. Just saying. In addition to all the interesting sights that you can see downtown, Crandon is also home to the Forest County Museum, located in what is known as the Carter House. The land that it sits on was once owned by Samuel Shaw, the founder of Crandon. Reading the placard, we can find out that Mr. Shaw sold the property in 1902 to a church, the Protestant Episcopal Church to be exact. They constructed what became known as the Guild Hall, and then that changed hands over a couple of years between 1902 and 1920, when in 1920, one Henry Carter bought the property, remodeled the building, and made it his home. A couple generations of Carters lived here, and eventually it was sold by his grandson to the Historical Society. As an FYI, for those of you following along on Google Earth, the Carter House is located down the street from the courthouse and the Masonic Lodge. For our last step in exploring my favorite up north town, I thought I'd bring you up to Pioneer Plaza. Now, I know some of you sightseers are going to be like, why did you bring us to a plaza where you'll find a gas station and other retail type establishments? But bear with me, sightseers. I know some of you who've known us for a long time particularly know Meandering Marty's fascination with the railroad. Well, believe it or not, the building that's home to IGA's The Gas Depot used to be an old train depot. That's right, this building, this historic building here, was Crandon's train depot, and if we walk over here, we can actually see the sign that says Crandon for the train stop. I don't know if this is the original location of the train depot or if it was just moved here. I can tell you that years ago, back when I was spending a lot of time up in Crandon for Labor Day weekends, they had a restaurant in here. And I know some of you sightseers may even recall that yourself. Now, as you can see, they're in the process of creating a space called Fire and Dice, where locals and tourists alike can come and hang out to play their favorite games. Who knows? One day, Crandon may be the Dungeons and Dragons capital of the world. Until next time, this is Sightseeing Sally
And Meandering Marty.